We've all seen them. The influencers who seem to have cracked the code. They're 45. They're living in beautiful homes in Connecticut, and their Instagram feed is a non-stop parade of luxury. Meet Jadion Richards, better known as J Icon, and his wife, Aquella, who goes by Apple or the paparazzi princess. To their followers, they were the ultimate power couple. They were balling. They were blessed. But in 2024, the curtain was pulled back, revealing that their high-flying lifestyle wasn't built on smart investments or viral brand deals. It was built on a calculated, multi-state criminal enterprise that targeted one specific brand, Lululemon. By the time the law caught up with them in late 2025, they had allegedly scammed the company out of nearly $1 million. This wasn't just shoplifting, it was a professional touring operation. And today we're breaking down exactly how they did it, how they got away with it for so long, and the dramatic 2026 sentencing that finally brought the mirage to an end. The sociopathic system. Most people who steal from retail stores are impulsive. They grab a shirt, hide it, and run. That's amateur hour. J Icon and Apple operated like a specialized heist crew. They understood the psychology of retail workers, and they exploited it with a move we'll call the honest man's pivot. Here's the play-by-play. Jadion would walk into a Lululemon alone. He'd look like any other dad or fitness enthusiast. He'd pick out the cheapest thing in the store, maybe a $12 keychain or a pair of basic socks. He would go to the register, pay full price, and get a receipt. This receipt was his get-out-of-jail-free card. It was his shield. While Jay was playing the part of the paying customer, Apple and an accomplice were on the other side of the store. They weren't looking at keychains. They were eyeing the $500 winter parkas and the high-end leggings. They would stash these items under their own clothes, bulky jackets or long skirts, and meet back up with Jadion in a blind spot of the security cameras. This is where it gets technical. Using a specialized tool, they would remove the magnetic security sensor from one of the stolen expensive items. They wouldn't just throw it on the floor. They would reattach that live sensor to the socks Jadion had just bought. Then they walked out together. As they hit the doors, beep, beep, beep. The alarm would scream. The store employees would jump. And this is where Jadion's acting skills earned him $1 million. He wouldn't run. Running makes you look guilty. Instead, he would stop, look confused, and turn around with an apologetic smile. "Oh man, did you guys forget a tag?" he'd ask, handing over his bag and his fresh receipt. The employee would look in the bag, see the $12 socks, see the sensor they forgot to remove, and apologize to him. Meanwhile, Apple is already 3 rows deep in the parking lot with $2,000 worth of stolen gear hidden on her person. They did this over and over. And the crazy part? After stealing the gear, they'd drive to a different store and return the stolen items for cash or gift cards using their sophisticated network of receipts. They turned Lululemon into their own personal ATM and the road trip from hell. By mid-2024, the couple realized they couldn't keep hitting the same stores in Connecticut. The staff would eventually recognize their faces, so they took the show on the road. They turned their criminal enterprise into a cross-country vacation. Think about the logistics of this. In Colorado, they hit 8 different stores in just 48 hours. That's not a shopping trip. That's a shift at a factory. They walked away with $32,000 in those 2 days. They moved to Utah, $21,000 in 48 hours. They hit Minnesota, $23,000 in 3 days. At this point, they were raking in hundreds of thousands of dollars. And what did they do with the money? Did they hide it? Did they lay low? No. They went on Instagram. They posted the cars, the dinners, the influencer life. They were literally flexing on the gram. with the proceeds of the very items they were returning for cash. But they didn't realize that Lululemon has something called an asset protection unit. These aren't just mall security guards. These are corporate investigators who track organized retail crime. ORC? They were watching the data. They saw the patterns. They saw the same names and the same sensor error happening in 5 different states. The Lulu police were building a digital folder on J Icon and Apple that was thicker than a phone book. They had the security footage. They had the transaction history. They were just waiting for the couple to get sloppy. The Minnesota meltdown. In late 2024, the greed finally outran the strategy. They returned to a store in Minnesota that they had already hit the day before. This is rule number 1 of any scam. Never return to the scene of the crime while the staff still remembers your outfit. When the alarm went off this time, the vibe was different. The employees didn't apologize. They stood their ground. Jadion, sensing the trap closing in, pivoted from honest customer to aggressive victim. He began shouting, accusing the employees of racial profiling. He claimed they were targeting him because of the color of his skin, creating a massive scene to distract everyone while they made their exit.